Oh, I just realized it still says that. Hey, y'all. All right. We are live. Hopefully, y'all can see me and it's not blurry. So, if you are coming in, I'm going to put the background up right now. You better see Mona Lisa. Bear with me. Don't worry about little Mona. Okay. All right. All right, y'all. If y'all can hear me, if y'all can see me, give me a thumbs up. If y'all can see the screen, give me a thumbs up as well. Well, don't give me 3 thumbs up. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, see me, and see the screen. How are y'all doing today? Happy Thanksgiving Eve. Yep, sure is. It sure is. All right, perfect. Y'all can see it. Siri, no one's talking to you. Please stop. Please go away.
Okay.
Okay. Y'all, my thing does that all the time. All right, guys. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Ew. And happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. Hello, hello, everyone. All right, so my name is Nurse Sam. If this is your first time here, hello. I am a licensed practical nurse. I am right here in the state of Georgia. I am also CEO of this Nurse Sam Global Media business, aka the Nursing School Study Bar, where we make learning fun. All right, we make learning fun, we make studying fun. All right, for my pre-nursing school students and my nursing school students. All right, this is for RN and practical nursing students. So my RNs and my LPNs/LVNs, you are welcome here. You can totally sit with us. Okay. The whole goal behind Nurse Sam Global Media is to make studying fun by linking and associating whatever you're learning or content that you're learning in nursing school or maybe before nursing school with things that are fun and special to you and just generally fun and entertaining so that you can actually hold your grab and hold your attention. All right, make you interested in learning the material so you can retain it longer and be able to recall it faster. Okay, so today or during this week, today is going to be day 3 of our next generation NCLEX week, as I call it. I'm gonna put this right here. There we go. This NCLEX generation week, where we're going to talk about everything that you need to know about the next gen NCLEX. All right, so if you are taking the next gen NCLEX on or after April 1st, 2023, then you should definitely be here. Okay, this is a great introductory and almost like a review of the breakdown of the next gen NCLEX, so you know what you need to know versus just being overwhelmed with everything that comes with a new version of a test. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all this now. I don't even have to take the next gen NCLEX, and taking in that information was a little overwhelming for me just because it's not what I'm used to, but that's just me. So that's why I want to go ahead and take that burden on so I can give you guys and spit out to you guys what's actually important, what you need to know. All right, so I took in all the fluff and I'm giving you guys the important stuff. All right, so day 1, we did the overview of what to expect on the next gen NCLEX. Day 2, we talked about clinical judgment and how to develop that clinical judgment. And then today we are going to talk about the new NGN question items. Okay, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so it's our break day. But all this information you're gonna want to take it in, because Friday, which is when we're going to return, we're going to actually have some practice questions, some next generation practice questions, so you can actually see examples of how the question item types or the new question item types are going to be. Okay, now the NGN is a mix of new and old questions or question types. Let me say that. It's going to be a mixture of new and old. Majority new, okay, because once again, they are aiming at strengthening and really measuring that your ability to make appropriate clinical judgments. So these new question item types are designed to do just that. Okay, so once again, Friday, we're going to actually see these question types in action and be able to answer them so you can see how you would use everything that we learned this week, in addition to what you learned content-wise in school, so you can go ahead and answer these questions. Okay, get a head start, because we know, especially once 2023 starts, it's gonna start to get intense. So the sooner the better, the earlier the better, the less anxious you'll be if you're actually prepared ahead of time as early as possible. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so remember yesterday we talked about using those 6 NCJMM, which was the NCSBN Clinical Judgment Measurement Model. We talked about those 6 cognitive skills to help us when answering these types of questions. All right, so on the actual NGN, we're going to have 85 to 150. That's going to be the amount of questions we have. We're still going to have 5 hours, but we're going to have 85 to 150 questions. And of those questions, you're going to have some new question types and item types. All right. So the next generation NCLEX is going to be introducing case studies. All right. Case studies. So the the new types of, or 2 categories, I should say, of item types that you're going to see on the next gen NCLEX is going to be called NGN case studies. All right. So whenever you see NGN, that stands for next generation NCLEX, just shorter. So NGN case studies, which is also called unfolding case studies. Okay. You're also going to have some standalone items. Wait, hold on. Okay, just making sure that my head was not covering up something. But yes, you're also going to have some standalone items, just 2 standalone items. Majority of all the question types you're going to get are going to come from those case studies. Okay, and that unfolding case study. Now, when it comes to like the difference between those 2 categories, we'll go into that. And we're also going to go into the difference between the categories of question types and the actual specific subcategories of those question types that you see. All right. Now, let's go ahead and get into our case studies. All right, so like I said, we have 2 types of case studies, these 2 right here, NGN and standalone. Both types of case studies present a common and realistic clinical scenario and include part of a medical record. All right, so on the next gen NCLEX, you're no longer just going to see like the question and the answer. It's going to be much more than that, okay? I wish I had an example for you today, but that's being worked on for Friday. Don't worry, you will have more than enough examples and actual visuals to be able to see how these questions look. Okay, and also it's going to be included in the upcoming and the new next generation NCLEX study kit that I have coming up right after we get finished with this. All right, so this is just our video overview. So, those medical records and questions. So when you get to a question on the NGN, like I said, it's not just going to be the question and the answer choices. All right, it's going to be just a little bit different. It's going to look a little different. Okay, it's going to be in the format of a split screen. All right, so split screen, you're going to have, and not split screen horizontally, really split screen vertically. You're just going to have 2 sections of the test, I guess, or the screen. Let me say that, 2 sections. On one side, you're going to have what's going to be like the medical record. You're going to have like that part of the patient's chart. You're going to have whether that's nurse's notes, health history, consult notes, diagnostic, lab values. This is going to be the information, the data, the cues, remember from yesterday, the cues that you're going to find either via subjective or objective data that's going to be given to you, and it's going to be in like medical record format. Okay, so you're going to have, in addition to the text of the questions telling you what it's going to be or whatever, but it's actually going to look like tabs of a like electronic medical record chart. So just like you have like tabs on like your Safari, you just kind of have those tabs kind of over there. That's kind of how it is. Now on the actual NGN, you won't be, I don't believe you'll be going in between those tabs. Those tabs will pretty much already be on that page, but that's the general gist of why they're putting those medical records. Okay, they're trying to reenact a common and very realistic scenario so that when you get into the actual like nursing world and actually start working, it won't be such a shell shock when you automatically just go to look for information in the chart. Okay, as opposed to just being given the information. That's not as realistic as the NCSBN wants it to be, which is why they changed the NCLEX into this format right here. Okay, so like I said, on one side, that split screen, you're going to have your patient information, your client findings, your cues, your data. Okay, on the other side is where you're going to have your question. And that's where we're going to get into the new question item types. Okay, now of the unfolding case studies or the NGN case studies, okay, it's called unfolding because your clinical scenario is actually like unfolding as you go. I can see it today. Yay! Awesome. I don't know what yesterday was about, but thank y'all for telling me. But yes, the unfolding case study, the actual patient's journey, whether that's from admission, a call, to all the way to discharge, that scenario is actually unfolding as you read through that side, the cues and the patient information that they're giving you. Okay, it's not just a one moment in time, hey, this is what you found, what's the next thing to do? You're still going to have that. That's going to be your standalone. But for case studies, it's giving you just a little bit more to it. Okay. The thing with case studies, it's not just a, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, one question, one and done type situation. All right. On the actual NGN, you're going to have 6 case study questions. 6 case study questions. I'm sorry, I lied. You're going to have 3. You're going to have 3 case study questions, but within each case study, you're going to actually have 6 questions. All right. And they can be a mix of any one of these that we're going to talk about later on down here. Okay. So you expect to have about 18 questions strictly related to case studies. Okay. Remember, per case study, you're going to have 6 questions. You're going to have 3 case studies in all. So 6 times 3 is 18, right? Okay. So we're going to have 18 questions. You can expect 18 questions in total about case studies. Each of those questions is going to represent one of the 6 cognitive skills that we discussed yesterday, like to recognize cues, analyze those cues, generate solutions, all that, those 6. Each of those questions within that case study is going to judge or measure your clinical judgment using those cognitive skills. So that's why yesterday and that information yesterday was so important, okay, especially for case studies. All right, you have to be able to recognize what that question's asking. And on the NGN, it's going to be a little different than how it is on the actual current NCLEX, okay? Like I said, they are really focusing on clinical judgment. So they really want you to be able to put yourself into those clinical shoes and make an appropriate clinical decisions based off of the individual client, that specific scenario. So no more like textbook answers, no more memorizing like general broad textbook answers. They want you to use that as a basis and a foundation for making whatever decision you're going to make. And trust me, they're going to quiz you on it. Okay. On like why you're making the decision you're making. So it's good to know why you're doing something, but they're, like I said, they're specifically going to make sure that you are able in any given scenario that's going to be commonly had by any type of new grad nurse, no matter what setting you go into. They're going to test you on just to make sure you know what to do in whatever situation. Okay. Now, when it comes to those standalone items, you're going to have 2 types of standalone items, either like a bow tie test item or a trend test item. We'll talk about those later as well. And you'll see those examples, specific examples, not tomorrow, but Friday. Now, let's get into the actual question types. Okay. Now, depending on which of these question types is going to be used for what type of item type, whether case study, standalone, anything like that, that's what it's going to, what's going to be testing the 6 cognitive skills that we talked about yesterday. Okay. So first things first, we have some things that are going to be staying the same, and we have some things that are going to be different. Okay. Now there will be even some stuff that does sound familiar. There's going to be some NGN changes to it. Like I said, specific to NGN. So, kind of familiar, but not similar, but not all the way the same. There's going to be a little bit of tweaks to it. All right. Now, for the first type of question type that we have, question item type that we have, we're going to have multiple choice. All right. That seems like, old. It's like, oh, we have multiple choice now, on your, whether it's T's or your ATI, your nursing school exams or like the current NCLEX, you're gonna have your multiple choice. All right, and that's either gonna be a single response or a matrix multiple choice. And we're gonna get into that. Now for the single response, you like I said, you're thinking about like the question, the 4 answer choices, you choose the best one, right? Yes and no. That's the general gist of what you're going to do. However, there are some changes that you need to be aware of, okay? We can no longer depend on the safety of just 4 options, okay? NCSBN decided that in real life, especially in, medicine, nursing, life won't give you just 4 choices. And, one of them is really, really absurd. 2 of them are the same, and then one of them is the correct answer. Like they're not gonna give you those cheat codes anymore. Okay. Life has more than just 4 options. So they wanted to kind of incorporate that to test you guys, like I said, on your clinical judgment. Okay. No matter what's in front of you, can you still make the correct decision? Can you still choose the correct answer? All right. So you're not gonna just have 4 options. You're actually gonna have up to 10. Okay, you're going to actually have up to 10. So for multiple choice single response, what's supposed to change? Sorry, just trying. Oh, you're okay. We're talking about multiple choice questions of the new next gen and NCLEX question item types. We're talking about the categories and the subcategories of the specifics of what to expect when you take the next gen NCLEX. All right. So like I said, multiple choice, single response. What you're used to as far as the question, those 4 answer choices is no longer what's going to be the norm, okay? Like I said, you're still going to have a question, but even with multiple choice single response, you're still going to have that associated split screen with that medical record, those cues, client findings, everything that you need to know about the patient on one side, and then you're going to have the actual question on the other. You're going to have, like I said, up to 10. I don't think 4 is the number at all as far as how many options there could be. But because majority of the other answer choices, you're going to have between 5 and 10 answer choices, no matter what type of question it is. Of the correct answer choices or of the answer choices that you have to choose from, you're going to have about 5 to 10. Okay. For single response, you may have 4 to 10, but it won't just be 4. Okay. And with single response, it will remain correct versus incorrect / all or nothing. I know you guys have probably heard that on the new gen NCLEX or the next gen NCLEX, you're going to be receiving partial credit. And while that is true, I just want to make sure you guys know what questions qualify for you to get partial credit. All right. You have to have a question where you can give a partial answer. Okay. If you have just a single response, there is no room for, oh, you get half points for this. There's no room for that. You only get one response, so it can be all or nothing. Okay. So single multiple response, you will not get partial credit for. It's just all or nothing. The other stuff, yes, and we'll talk about it. Okay. Expect for the questions to be longer. Like I said, it won't just be like 2 sentences and then 4 options. You're going to have, once again, that split screen. So you're going to have history. You're going to have diagnostics, labs, and whatever it is that's, specific to the actual question. So just don't be surprised when you see that the question is longer and that there's more answer choices for a single response. Warning you now. Okay. Next thing you're going to want to know about the multiple choice is that you can have something called matrix. All right. Matrix is a style of question. And as you can see, it's also found in multiple response down there as well. Okay, so the actual number of choices of what's actually correct doesn't really play a role. It's just how the questions and the answers are presented to you. Okay, that's what's going to describe matrix. All right, when you think about matrix, think about like a table. Okay, think about a table. A matrix format has at least 4 rows and 3 columns. All right, so 4 rows and 3 columns. Okay, imagine a table like that. And each of those rows will be your different options, okay? That's why I say I will have at least 4 rows, because it depending on how many questions you have, either at least 4 or as many as 10, that's how many rows you're gonna have. All right, now those columns, those are gonna be 3, I believe. It's gonna remain 3. And those columns are usually just gonna be like one of them is gonna be labeling. What you usually see is like client statement questions, and then the columns are pretty much asking you if that client indicated if there was adequate teaching, if they understood the teaching, if more teaching is needed, or yeah, it's just those two, really. Those two. But then once again, that third column is going to label those client statements, so you know what they are. Okay, so that's an example of matrix multiple choice. Okay, now let's get into multiple response. All right, I know with the current NCLEX, whenever you hear multiple response, you think of select all that apply, right? With the current NCLEX and select all that apply, you can have as many as 5 to 6 answer choices. And of those 5 to 6 answer choices, you can have as little as 1 of those to answer choices be correct, or as many as all. Okay, it can be anywhere between 1 and all 5 or 6. All right, now this is an example, this category, everything in this category is an example of one of the question item types that you will be receiving, or you will qualify to receive partial credit for. Okay, so select all that apply, multiple response form of the NGN, you're gonna get some, this is right, this is not right, partial credit, partial points for it. Okay. Once again, this style of format is similar to the select all that apply that you're probably either used to, accustomed to viewing and taking, except for the fact that, once again, it's longer. Same thing with multiple choice. Everything is just longer because they're giving you more information. All right, they're giving you more information about the client's health problems, their history, any assessment data, any findings, you know, their feelings. They're giving you all that information so that of those 6 questions that's going to come, you're able to just look at the data that you have as you would if you were in a real clinical situation and just looking over maybe like your assessment, old nursing notes, so you can make a clinical decision. Does that make sense? All right, so once again, select all that apply. You can have anywhere between 5 to 10 choices max, and not just a max of 5 or 6. Okay. The next thing down the group is select N. Select N. All right, this is similar to select all that apply, but instead of selecting all that apply, you're only selecting a specific number that applies. And don't worry, they will tell you guys what number they're looking for, okay? If they have a question, it's like select 4 client findings that support, to select 4 priority health concerns that the client is currently experiencing. That's an example. All right, so select 4. 4 would be that N number. All right, N is unknown. Select a specific X amount of numbers. Okay, now just so there's some like built-in security into the test, with select N questions, just in case you like miss that it's select N and you think it's select all, it's only going to give you enough options to choose how many is required to choose. So if it says choose 4, and maybe you read too fast or you missed that part, and you go in thinking that you're going to choose 3, 5, whatever, anything but 4, it's not even going to let you. It's not going to let you. It's not going to let you. If you choose too few, it's not going to let you go forward. If you choose too many, it's not going to let you go forward, and it's going to tell you. All right, so choose exactly how much it says for you to choose. Don't overthink it. Okay, next thing we have is grouping. Grouping is also similar to select all that apply. All right, remember this is a multiple response category, so multiple responses are going to be correct, usually. But with grouping, these options are presented in categories, okay, or groups, I should say. Since it's called grouping, you can also call it groups. Okay, you usually have about 2 columns, 5 rows, and just like how, like kind of matrix was, where it's telling you each of the the rows are client statements, and the columns are like specific I don't know, parameters like understood teaching, didn't understand teaching, yada, yada, yada. That's matrix. But for grouping, it's broken down into actual groups and categories. Okay, so a lot of times when you see grouping, it's because it's grouping together like a body part, body organs, body system, something like that. Okay, matrix MR. I just described matrix for multiple choice. And so the matrix for the multiple response is going to be the same. But instead of just having to choose one answer choice, you can choose, like I said, as little as one or as many as all of the available options, which is about 10. Okay. I posted something earlier that was talking about strategy. Within the new NGN NCLEX book, we're going to talk about specific strategies for each of these item types. So you can kind of A, see visually how they will look, and then B, know how to prepare for them, know how to answer them correctly. Okay, so make sure you guys check that out as soon as I tell you it's available. Hopefully the next few days, so you guys can take advantage of our Black Friday sale of 80% off. Okay, so you can go ahead and get your NGN NCLEX books if you are changing, or study kits if you are taking the NCLEX April 1st or later. Okay, so that is it for multiple choice, multiple response. Okay, next thing we have is drop down. Okay, and another thing, these categories, aka everything in pink, those aren't meant to kind of like compete with each other, like, oh, which one's easier, which one's, you know, faster for me to answer, blah blah blah. That's not what the goal of those are. All right, it's just letting you know what to expect as far as, you know, what you're expected to do or see when it comes to the question types of the NGN and NCLEX. I keep saying NGN and generation. All right, so let's get down into drop down. Okay, close is one of our popular. That one's one of the actual newest item types. Just period to the NCLEX. All right, when you see close, it's not clothes, and it's not like close the door. CLOZE. All right, and this one is drop down. Now I will say this about close. Drop down close and right up here, drag and drop close. Those sometimes can be used interchangeably. All right. So usually on the actual NCJ they actually combine these two pretty much as one. They'll either say like drag down or drop down close. Okay. The same thing with matrix. Like it's still the question item type. How many correct answers isn't really important other than just like stating it, but they actually want you to get like the strategy behind how to answer close, whether it's drag and drop close or drop down close. Okay, equipping you with the information. All right, so whether it's drop down close or drag and drop close, when you think about close, you want to think about fill in the blank. Okay. Fill in the blank is something that we have on our current NCLEX, and you usually see those fill in the blanks with like those are just calculations questions or like, you know, medical math questions where you have to actually input something. But these, whether it's drop down or drag and drop, they're still going to provide us with answer choices, and it's up to us to actually choose the correct one. Okay. So for the drop down close, what it's going to do is going to present a sentence with blanks in it. Like I said, it's like fill in the blank. And what you have to do is fill in those options or the appropriate options in those blanks based on the scenario provided. I would say that. Okay, so you'll have about anywhere between like 1 to 5 sentences. Like I said, it's if you don't like reading, it's gonna suck. I'm not even gonna lie, because I don't like reading and it sucked. So for the drop down rational and drop down table, okay. For the drop down rational, you're gonna use a fill in the blank format, and it's gonna be a cause and effect like theme. All right, it's gonna be a cause and effect like tonality. Whether that's if this didn't happen or if this happens, then this will happen. However it's going to word it, but it's a cause and effect type of effect. Okay. Drop down rationale, same thing. Fill in the blank because of a cause and effect sentence. Let me see if I can give you guys one before. Wait for it. Okay, so this is an example. So like I said, pretend you have like a fill in the blank question, like a what's those questions that you have? Like the question at the back of like page 6, like a comic book, like People magazine. You do those little crossword puzzles. Like imagine you have this sentence. It says the nurse determines that the blank. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. The nurse determines that the blank was effective as evidenced by blank and the blank and the blank. What does that sound like to you? As evidenced by. Related to. Can anybody please tell me what that reminds them of? The words as evidenced by and the words like related to. Really as evidenced by. But what does that remind you of? That you already know within the current NCLEX. What does that remind you of? As evidenced by, or AEB. I just released a study kit on this if you need to refresh your memories. Can anybody tell me what that stands for? Or not stands for, but what does that remind them of? Care plans. Exactly. Exactly. The 6 cognitive skills I was telling you guys about yesterday from the clinical judgment measurement model, those are actually based on and like built upon and expands on the nursing process. So ADPI, assessment, diagnose, plan, implement, evaluate. The 6 cognitive skills are basic that, but just with another step. But that's the framework behind the NextGen NCLEX. So it's very important that you at least know that, new and always, so you can take that and apply it to whatever situation and clinical scenario that you get. Okay. So yeah, I just read you guys a sentence. Each of those blanks are going to be obviously answers that you can either drag and drop, depending if it's a drag and drop close, or click those blanks and it'll be a drop down menu with like 3 answer choices or something like that. And you choose which one for each blank line. Like what's supposed to be in that blank line? What is it not saying? What is it saying without not saying at the same time? You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, you want to go in and actually use the categories. Okay, the options are going to be listed in categories. All right, for this one, we're going to have 3 different categories. But once again, for closed, you can have, let's see how many again. In those drop downs, like 3 or more. Yeah, about 3 or more options. Okay, so majority of your options are going to be in those columns. And that's where you either have to drag and drop it, if it's drag and drop, almost like a word bank. Okay, when you have drag and drop and drop down, even though it's a fill in the bowl, really drag and drop. Let me just say that. For drag and drop, I want you to imagine like a word bank or an option bank. Okay, like in a little small box, you're gonna have different options. And it's going to let you know, it's going to indicate like these options are for the first blank. These options are for the second blank. These options are for the third blank. And it's going to be like a little table. And it's up to you to drag and drop the correct one to where it's supposed to be. All right. Now, as far as the drag and drop close and the drop down close being pretty much interchangeable, it can have the exact same question, drag and drop close style. But if they wanted to make that drag and or drop down close style, it can be the exact same sentence with the blanks. That's not going to change. The availability of the options is what's changing between drag and drop down. All right, so for drop down, you won't have those like that word bank. You're actually going to have those same words within that column, but when you click that line, it's going to be like a drop down. Okay, I'm trying to think about something that's a good drop down. I don't know how to simplify drop down. It's like you click it and then the answer choices drop down. You have to select whatever the correct one is. Okay, so that's going to be a drop down close or drag and drop close. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to talk about drop down rationale. Okay, drop down rationale. Once again, Still the same effect, all right? It's fill in the blank format. However, it's in a cause and effect sentence. Okay. And what that basically means is that you need to know your rationale. You need to know your why. So when they say cause and effect, like cause and effect style, they really mean know why you're choosing it, know why this answer is this. So if an answer says, find an example. If a question says like, it's going to give you like a sentence, and it's going to be like, the nurse determines that the most appropriate, the nurse determines that the most priority health concern for the client is going to be blank because blank. So that's why I said you have to know your why. You have to know the reasoning behind why you're choosing what you're choosing. All right. It's no longer just, oh, which one's the most priority? Because in the questions like that, they're going to be like, okay, why? Why do you feel that way? And then you have to choose the answer based on that. Like, why do you think, between not being able to breathe, stubbing your toe, your heart rate beating super fast, of those, which is the most priority? That's going to be, so those options are going to be the first section. And then figure out why, or that because that's the part that you really, really need to know. Okay. So, drop down rationale, you need to know that rationale. Okay, so just like when you're taking current NCLEX questions and you take it and then you have to read the rationale to tell you why the question is correct or why that answer is correct, with this, with rationales, drop down or drag and drop, you have to already pretty much know that, if that makes sense, or at least have a good idea, because once again, the whole purpose of Next Gen NCLEX is for you guys to develop that clinical judgment. All right. Employers are tired. They are tired of the lack of clinical judgment. Not from y'all, specifically, but just like on average, everybody in the US, all the new grads within the past like 3 years, that's just what the general consensus is. You have some good apples and you have some bad ones, but over 80% of those employers are saying it's majority bad ones that don't know what they're doing, which is why we're having an increase in clinical errors, which is why we're having an increase in like med errors and things like that can be avoided if it's not just for, like careless mistakes. Obviously things happen, but like mistakes that are completely avoidable and are based off of cutting corners or not really knowing the repercussions of why, that's what's unacceptable. Not the fact that everyone's human, everyone has a rough day, blah blah blah. No, it's not that. It's definitely much more serious and intense than that. So that's why these types of questions are being thrown at you guys and made in the way that they're being made. All right, so that's going to be rationale, either drag and drop or drop down. Okay, it's still that fill in the blank style. Okay, but just how you have to do those questions and answer it, that's going to determine whether it's drag and drop or drop down. Okay. In table for drop down. Same gist, fill in the blank. But those categories are provided just in a table, okay? Clothes was, well, it depends, honestly. Clothes is either like drop down or a drag and drop, but those options are given to you. Rationale is that cause and effect. In the table, really could be a mixture of those two. It's just that your answer choices and your categories are just in a table. Okay, so that's pretty much the difference between those. But once again, on Friday, we're going to go through some examples of each so you know how they'll look, all right? Especially between the drag and drops and the drop downs. I want to make sure y'all know the difference between the two, even though they're going to test you on the same skills. Cognitive skills, I should say, the 6 NCJMM skills. Whether drop down and drag and drop, they test you on the same things. Okay, it's just the format that's going to be different. Got it? All right, now we're going to go into our highlight. because we pretty much talked about drag and drop down at the same time. All right. Highlight. All right, highlight is going to be basically our enhanced hotspot. All right, on the current NCLEX, we have these question types or item types called hotspot. And the current NCLEX, at least, that reflects like maybe like a figure or something like that. Examples, like a figure of maybe like an ear or something like that. Or like a body part in general. And the question will be like, point to or click the area that is the most affected by aspirin toxicity, like some stuff like that. Okay, and it's up to you to actually go on that. This is current NCLEX now. Go on that actual image, figure, whatever it is, and select the actual spot or portion of that image that's correct. Okay, with highlight and text, you're taking that and kind of like moving away from just images into words. Okay, I'm gonna be 100% with you because y'all know I love to be honest. I do not or have not claimed to have always gotten every answer right from the get-go, from the time I was in nursing school 8 years ago, okay, to where I am today after doing NCLEX Jeopardy with you guys for like 2-3 years straight every week. Although I have a good mix of content and strategy and stuff like that. Like when I first started back in nursing school, I didn't have that knowledge base. So I had to figure it out on my own. I found out that I was not really much of a reader. I'm a more visual person. And at the time, 8 years ago, there wasn't really much content or resources for visual learners or students with like ADHD. I didn't know I had ADHD at the time. That was definitely a newer diagnosis as of this year, but it makes a lot of sense, okay? I'm a visual learner and I'm ADHD, which basically means in a nutshell, I have to be interested in what I'm reading in order for me to, or what I'm learning and studying in order for it to stick, okay? When I say I cannot tell you how many wasted hours I got with just like reading really respiratory and GI, one of the main ones, I cannot stand those topics. Just reading the same page over and over and over again, just because I was A, bored, B, it was not grabbing my attention, and yeah, it was whoop, in one ear, out the other, in this eye, out this eye. It was just too much. So, as a visual learner, I had to create a way and a method for me to be able to actually succeed in nursing school and on the NCLEX, because all I had was words, and words just don't work for me. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. We all just learn differently. We have different learning styles, which is why you have to know what learning style you are so that you can avoid that embarrassment. So you don't figure out like, oh my God, maybe I'm not cut out for nurse to be a nurse because I just do not like reading. I don't like words. I'm more of a visual learner, all that good stuff. Trust me, I've been there before. I went through the same thing. But like I said, everyone learns differently. As long as we come to the correct decision, it does not matter what route we take to get to the answer, as long as it's, especially based off of actual like evidence-based practice, based off of fact and rationale, how we get there is to our own regard. Like, just however you want it, however you like it, I love it, as long as it's right. Okay. So for me, if I had to take the next gen NCLEX, like I would really have to start like pretty much now to really understand how do I say it? I would have to start studying now so I can actually get into the mode of being able to hold and grab my own attention in my own ways, and to be able to actually like have a strategy in reading all this information. I'm not a reader. I'm a visual person. So all that data into one, question on one screen, all those words on one screen can very quickly overwhelm me. If anybody else, any of you are like that, like me, it's going to be an adjustment. Okay. Not saying that you can't do it, because you can definitely do it, boo. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'll be right here every step of the way. Okay. So everything within, somebody had a question. All we need is to study your book for the NCLEX. No, absolutely not. I would never just say to study my book for, or just study really one resource, especially if it's like a comprehensive resource. You're gonna need just your textbooks. You're gonna need your lectures from whatever program you're in, and then depending on how you study and your learning style, that's what's going to differentiate how you're going to study really and prepare for the NCLEX. Okay, some people like UWorld, some people like Saunders study books, some people like YouTube. It differs based off of you. For all of my stuff, is for the current NCLEX strategy wise. You need content and strategy when preparing for the NCLEX. So all of my stuff is going to give you content. So that's going to be like your med surg, your mental health fundamentals, pediatrics, pharm. That's the content that's not going to change, whether that's new NCLEX, current NCLEX, NCLEX 4.0, 9 years down the road, doesn't matter. That material is still going to be the same. Okay, diabetes is going to be diabetes today, yesterday, tomorrow, all of it. Okay, but just the strategy is what's changing. So that's what you have to adjust. All right, so the next Gen NCLEX study kit that I have coming out isn't going to be content-based because I already have that with the Ultimate Nursing School Bundle and all the other things that I have within our nursing school study bar. However, the next Gen study kit is going to be specifically for strategies and so that you can make yourself aware and actually informed about what to expect from the next Gen NCLEX, how to prepare, and how to answer those questions in an actual like evidence-based way, in a strategic way, and not just like, oh, let's just go through it. Understand? But yeah, so like I said, if you are a visual learner, if you are an auditory learner, make sure you are doing what you need to do to prepare for the NCLEX current or next, because there's a lot of reading. That's all I want to get across to you. There's a lot of reading, so I don't want you to be caught by surprise, especially if you have like test anxiety and stuff like that. The more you know, okay? The more you know, the better off you will be. That's why we are doing these, okay? So highlight in text. All right, you're gonna have a lot of words. So highlight in text is basically you just imagine like a paragraph. And in order to answer the question, they're gonna give you a question, whatever that's gonna ask. It'll be like, this is an example of what I see in highlight in text. They want you to identify and recognize cues. All right, that's a lot of the highlight in text and in table questions. Those are majority of those are really going to be testing you for your ability to recognize cues, aka recognize clinical findings and data, blah, blah, blah. Manifestations, you have to know what you're looking at. That's what highlight is going to test you on. So for the highlight in text, like I said, you're going to have a paragraph, and it's going to be, like I said, a medical record, health history, something about a specific client and their problem that they're going to be reporting, okay? Sometimes it's going to be one problem, sometimes it's going to be a bunch of problems, all right? Now, depending on what the question's asking you to do, whether that's to prioritize which of those problems is the most important, or select client findings that support the most important findings, or the immediate concern, finding that's the immediate concern, that's up to you to do. And in order for you to do that, you have to go into that text that's letting you know everything, vitals, health history, patient statements, whatever it is that's included. Now you have to go and just like you would highlight, like if you're going to select some like words from a screen, whether it's on your phone or a computer, just like you go and you like select a text, like highlight it, like click it, hold down and click and select it. That's what you have to do in highlight in text and in table. Now the difference between in text and in table, in text is like a paragraph, and in table, text within a table format. There's a lot of tables in the next gen NCLEX. And that's just really more so for like organization, just kind of having everything in one place with different columns and categories, but it's essentially all the same information. Okay. That's what I mean by, the format's going to be different, but the gist is going to be generally the same. So you're going to have to know what you're looking at, what you're looking for, and what data means what. Because that's what highlight in text/table is going to be testing you on. Okay. All right. So, someone says, I take it in November 23. I'm scared. Would it be hard? Hard depends on you. That's a very like subjective thing. Different is what I like to say. Different is definitely what I like to say. But this is why hopefully your nursing programs are preparing you guys slowly but surely. But if they aren't doing what they gotta do and they dropping the ball, which is let me shut up. If they're not doing what they gotta do, that's why Big Sis Nurse Sam is here to help y'all. Okay, and answer any questions y'all may have about what to expect on the next gen, about how it's actually going to look. Okay, that's literally the whole point and purpose of this business. All right, my goal is not to just sell study kits. That's not my goal. When you've asked me what my mission is, it's not to be like, oh, to sell pretty study kits. Absolutely not. It's to help you guys get into nursing school, stay in nursing school, get out, and then take and pass your NCLEX so you can go on to be nurses. Okay, now what you do after you get that license is up to you. I'm gonna have some cute merch for you. I'm gonna have some pins for you. Pass your RN NCLEX. Here you go. Here's a pin. Congratulations. Pass your LPN. Here's an LPN pin. Congratulations. There's an LVN one too. And some cute shirts. But my goal is to make sure that you guys feel supported and not alone when it comes to nursing school, because it can be a lot, and not just academically and study wise or whatever, but in all aspects. All right, like psychologically, are you okay mentally? All right, here's how I can support you in that way. Here's some advice on working while you're trying to be in nursing school. Here's some advice on trying to juggle a love life in nursing school. Kids in nursing school. So my goal is just make sure you guys feel supported and to be that person to help you guys through and to navigate through such a change. Okay, depending on how long your program is, between 1 year or 4 years, whatever. Make you feel like you have somebody there every step of the way, even though I'm not in class with you every day. Okay, I have people that DM me or email me like questions, and I don't answer those questions for them, but I'm going to help you get you into the frame of mind of being able to answer questions moving forward like that. Okay, how do you answer that? Let me walk you through the steps of how you would actually come to that answer, whether or not you know the content or not. Okay, if you do need content help, that's why I have my study guides to help support you, and that those study guides are good for RN and LPN, because like I say all the time, the content that they're testing you on, specifically on the NCLEX and in nursing school, is going to be pretty much the same. Absolutely. Yeah, pretty much the same. Now, even though, you're going to learn more in RN school simply because it's longer, you have more to learn. What you learn in LPN school is what RNs also learn. So everyone's going to have to learn the information. Everyone has to learn labs. Everyone has to learn medications. Everyone has to learn those nursing interventions. Everyone has to learn, complications that can arise, adverse effects, side effects, and what to do in case you see those. Okay, so that's the content that's going to stay the same between programs, between NCLEXs. Strategy is going to be what's different. Okay. Let me look. Where are we going? So do you guys have any questions yet? And if you don't have any questions, do you feel like worse or better when it comes to, these NGN questions types that you can expect to see on the NCLEX, the new next gen NCLEX? Do you feel the same? Do you feel worse? Do you feel better after we went through it? Or do you not know yet? And you'll kind of answer me on Friday when we go through actual examples of each of these question types. All right. Go ahead now. Celebrate study guides. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. I'm so glad you love your study guides. If any of you guys have not seen any of my study guides or any of my materials, now would be the perfect time for you to do it because our Black Friday deals have arrived early. Okay, so make sure you check those out. 80% off on the content, 80% off on all study guides, and 30% off all merch, pins, and our bestsellers, these study gummies, Lion's Mane study gummies. All right, perfect to help boost your mental clarity, motivation, and focus. Perfect for those long study nights or pop it right before an exam. Okay, but yeah, 30% off those and 80% off our digital study guides. Tyra said, yeah, I definitely need more examples. Totally understand. Absolutely. So make sure you guys come back on Friday, 7 p.m. Okay. Tomorrow we're taking a break because you guys do have, well, you guys, we all have Turkey Day. So go eat, be merry. I'm not sure if y'all have a test the next day or whatever, but if you can take a break tomorrow, even for a couple hours, I always encourage it. I'm never going to encourage 100% straight studying the whole time you're in nursing school because that's A, unrealistic, and B, it's just not effective. Okay, you need to take a break. You need a balance. So if you have not taken a break this week and you've been waiting for Turkey Day, I really hope you enjoy your day off of studying tomorrow. Enjoy Bay, enjoy family, enjoy your kids, I almost said family again. Enjoy whatever it is. If some of you guys are working, enjoy your coworkers, who knows? But just take a mental health day, chill out, and then come back on Friday ready to tackle these next generation actual examples of the questions. We're going to walk through how to answer it. We're going to walk through the actual styles of the questions so you'll be able to visually see each type of question. I'm going to let y'all answer it. And then we're going to go through it just like we would in NCLEX Jeopardy. We're going to go through the correct answer or answers, why they're the correct answers, and how you can better answer these questions or what you can do to answer these questions correctly in the future when you get them again. Okay? Thumbs up. We get it. All right, does anybody have any questions for me before we depart for tonight? Okay, and then once again, this is just our video review, but for some of you that prefer like an actual hard copy like in front of them, so that as time goes on between now and actual April, when it gets closer and closer to that next gen date, you'll be able to like pull that study kit out and be like, so you'll have my Ultimate Nursing School bundle for content, and then you'll have my next gen NCLEX study kit for strategy, and both of those together, you're gonna be fine. You're going to be fine, okay? Remember, I did all the work and did all the months and months of research so I can take in that information, so I can spit back out what's actually important and what y'all actually need to know in order to be successful. Y'all already have enough on y'all plate, so that's why I took over. I'm just giving you guys what you need to know, okay? All right, I don't think I have any more questions. Perfect. Like I said... Wait, let me go to it. Wait for it. Hold on. Like I said again, Black Friday is here. If you guys want 80% off our study guides and study bundles. All right, so all digital products, whether it is our Ultimate Nursing School bundle, which I suggest y'all get. I also suggest y'all get that nursing care plan study kit at 80%. It's like, I think like $2 at 80% off that nursing plan study kit. You definitely need that for next gen, as well as the current NCLEX. Okay, because remember, they're both going to be modeled after the nursing process. Okay, current is going to be the nursing process, and the next gen NCLEX is going to be modeled after it, aka the clinical judgment measurement model. All right, so make sure you guys have that so you can just have a good little basis. Okay, 80% off right there, link in my bio, or you can go to thenursesam.com, or you can download the app, which is the Nurse Sam, free to download. All right, and if you guys want to try out our gummies, which have been one of our top sellers this month, especially because finals are coming up. Make sure you check out our physical product Black Friday deal. All right, so anything that's a nurse merch, whether that is study gummies, some sweaters, because it's sweater weather. It is sweater weather. All right. Get some sweaters, get some t-shirts, like I said, get some pins, because for you guys that are about to be passing what your RN, your LPN, NCLEX, whether it's current or next gen, y'all gonna need a pin for pinning ceremony. I'm telling you this now. I don't know what options y'all have now, but the options I had for pinning ceremony, at least, especially for LPN, LVN, 8 years ago, were no. They were not it. So I created something that was actually really cute, that would be honored and very proud to be pinned with. So after you guys, get your study kit deals, get your graduate, take your NCLEX, pass your NCLEX, you're going to need something to sport on your new badges for whatever, setting you work in as your new nurse job. Get these 30% off this weekend only. Don't get caught slipping. All right. Bougie said, I used your kit last year and passed my NCLEX. Woohoo! Congratulations. Yay. That makes me feel good. Just Sprit said, is the kit in your bio? Absolutely. It's also in my shop as well. If you go to my TikTok, you'll see it there. But if you go to the link in my bio, you'll see our viral study guides right there. You can just click it and access it right there. All right. Or just go to nursesam.com. Any of those. All right. So thank y'all so much for joining me. All right. Go ahead and get ready for Turkey Day. I hope y'all have your outfits laid out. How many of y'all wearing scrubs to y'all living rooms for Thanksgiving? How many of y'all wearing figs trying to be cute? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, y'all. Just because I struggle with patho. We do have a patho kit within the Ultimate Nursing School bundle, like some templates and some pre-filled ones as well for like patho/med-surg. So make sure you check that out. But we are going to have something a little bit more in-depth coming either next month or the top of next year for you guys that are struggling with patho. Okay, but we do have like a med-surg size patho kit within the Ultimate Nursing School bundle. Check that out. All right. Thank y'all so much. And I will see y'all Friday for Next Gen NCLEX Jeopardy practice questions. All right. Thank y'all so much. And I will see y'all next time.